Plaintiff Beth Skellen is suing her ex-boyfriend, Jason Beamer, for car damages, a loan, impound charges, and property damage. Beth says Jason became addicted to prescription painkillers, which led him to become a heroin addict, and she says he stole her air conditioner and sold it for drugs. Jason admits to becoming addicted to heroin, but he says he's been clean for 4 months. He says the plaintiff sold his furniture, and he's countersuing for unreturned property.
All rise. The Honorable Judge Jeanine Pirro presiding.
Hello, James.
Afternoon, Judge. May be seated.
Beth Skellen is suing Jason Beamer for car damage alone, impound charges, and property damage. And Jason, the ex-boyfriend, is suing his ex-girlfriend for unreturned property. All right, Beth, how did you meet Jason and why are you suing him?
Jay and I started dating in March of 2007. I actually did end up moving in with him and his dad for a couple months. And then in June, we kind of went ways. We ended up living in different houses, but we were still together. When I did start dating Jay, I knew he was on a pain management regime from his pain management doctor. He was taking oxycodones, which is a highly addictive drug.
Oxycontin?
Oxycontin, I'm sorry, yes. Mm-hmm. And eventually Jay did become addicted to heroin. And this became a big problem in our life. About June, July, it really started getting an addiction.
Were you addicted to heroin?
Yes, for a very small part of my life.
You were?
I will admit to that, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, during the spring and early parts of the summer, I would let Jay occasionally borrow my car to run errands and just do things. And a couple times he'd come back late picking me up from work. And one night in particular, he came back to pick me up late. I used to work at a horse barn back then. And so I, got in the car. When he pulled out of the parking spot, he didn't leave himself enough room to get around the Blazer that was next to us. So when he did pull out, he caused damage to the front of my car by hitting my friend's Blazer, which I do have pictures of if you would like to see.
Let's see it. So he damaged the front of your car. Did he damage the Blazer as well?
No, it's an old Blazer that's didn't get hurt at all.
Thank you, James.
The estimate also includes damages that was done a little later.
Okay, what am I looking at here? This is the front of your car?
Yeah.
The paint is chipped, the scratches here. Is this a headlight?
Yes.
Is that damaged?
The cover was, yes.
I see. Okay, so we've got a mirror of black, $105, a pint of blue paint, $596 for that. What year is this car?
It's a 2000. There's other damage from another incident also on there.
Okay, all right.
So a short time later, we were driving the car again. Jason was driving, I was in the passenger seat, and his brother was in the back seat. Jay and another driver got involved in a road rage incident. I don't remember honestly who started which car, but basically one would pass the other, speed up, and then slam on the brakes or slow down real quick, causing the other one to go into the back. So at the end of this incident, Jay pulled on the right-hand side of this truck, which was a big truck, and he ended up running us off the road, and we hit a mailbox with the left side of the mirror, which is why I have no mirror, which I also have a picture of that too.
So when you handed me this is different than the damage for the front of this.
That estimate actually includes all of it.
Do you have a police report? Did you call the police?
He did call the insurance later, but no report was filed.
The answer is no, we didn't call the police. You know why? This aggravates me. Do you know you could have been killed or you could have killed someone else?
I do.
Now, what Beth just said, what the plaintiff just said, was you both hit the brakes and then you got it started again, and we don't know who started what. You're in the middle of a road rage incident.
It did turn into that, yes.
Do you have a temper? Were you on heroin then?
No, I was on Oxycontin then, Your Honor.
Go ahead. What else are you suing for?
Okay, later that summer, he did end up going to rehab, and we decided in September to move in together. I found an apartment, and we both needed a place to live. So towards the end of, actually it was the beginning of October, I'm sorry. I was at work, and I came home one day to find the air conditioner unit ripped out of the wall and taken apart in the backyard. He had apparently decided in the middle of the day to scrap the parts for $30 to get heroin.
What do you want to tell me?
I want to tell you that I've known Beth for a long time, since kindergarten, and I did have a tough time with heroin. I will say that. Yeah. I've been clean now for 4 months, no pain medicine, anything whatsoever.
Good for you. Good for you.
As soon as we started dating, she became very clingy, very obsessed, like we're going to get married, have kids, and like had this whole life planned out. She wanted to go find an apartment. She wanted me to move in with her and everything. And I was willing to put the apartment and everything in my name. I said I'd pay for everything every month. The bills would be paid. My family does have money. And she said she wanted to make her own stand, do everything on her own, which I understood. And she didn't have anything to furnish the apartment with, so I did bring a list of and receipts of the stuff I furnished the apartment with.
Thank you, James. Okay. So are you suing her for those items?
Well, she sold those items to pay the rent. And I was just kind of letting her use those items to help furnish her apartment.
So what are we talking about here? We've got speakers.
Speakers, a TV, a Sony Trinitron flat screen TV, a solid cherry wood sleigh bed, king size bed.
That's not cheap. How much was a sleigh bed?
$3,000, like
$3,000?
$2,900 is brand new.
Very nice. You just like went shopping and filled the apartment, huh?
Yeah.
Nice. So you sold the stuff?
No.
You didn't sell it?
The stereo I did sell.
How much did you make on the stereo?
I only sold it for $200. I had to pay some bills that he had racked up.
Did you ask his permission to sell any of this stuff?
I don't think I asked his permission. I just told him I was going to.
What did you say?
I had no idea until it was gone. She sold it to whoever she did, and
Did you leave her with bills, Jason?
No bills, nothing that was agreed of that I would ever pay for.
Okay. Your name, please. Step up. Tell me who you are.
My name is Michelle Bennett. I'm Jason's mother.
Hi.
And I would just like to say that the 2 years that they were together,
Yes.
Jason spent most of that 2 years living with me. He was in and out of there periodically for a matter of days at a time. He had no responsibility, in my opinion, to pay for her utility bills and her rent.
Okay, Beth, what was the agreement?
The agreement was that if he got a job, he would help pay. That's why I'm not going after rent or utilities, just damages he's caused me.
You have a sleigh bed?
Yes, I have it still.
What are you doing with the sleigh bed?
Actually, I have letters. I've been trying to get him to come and get it.
Did you send him the letters?
Yes.
No.
Did you get a letter?
No.
No. Did you not know where he was living?
No, I know. I sent him a certified letter, which I have came back.
Oh, this
And then
is
because
bad for you.
The
Come on, let's see it. Jiffy.
actually, the post office recommended that I send one both certified, which I did, and then send one uncertified, and then to a second person
Smart
to prove
cookie
that
over
it
here.
got there.
But we never received them. It's not signed for.
Jason Beamer, return to sender, unclaimed, unable to forward. Wilson, New York?
Father.
That's my father's address.
His father and I live in two different houses in
Right.
Wilson.
But she did try. She really did try.
She tried, but
Okay.
The stuff was already sold, and
why didn't you talk to each
I did go to pick up the bed and stuff.
Can I answer that
Hold
question?
on.
I went to
Mom,
go.
hold on.
I went to go pick up the bed, and it was broken on the ground. So I just figured we'd just let it get straightened out here. I
It's a
wasn't gonna.
$3,000 bed.
And it was broken on the ground, so I didn't
Matt.
want to just let it go.
He broke
Let
it.
it go.
He broke it?
When I was in Florida, he broke it.
How do you know?
He told me.
She's, I don't think, big enough to break a bed. Is she?
She had somebody help her move it or something, and it got broke.
Did you move? Did you move the bed?
The
Not
bed got
since we had
moved.
moved
The
in where
bed
we
got
live
moved
now.
from the first apartment to this apartment.
Is that true?
No.
How did it? It was at the first apartment. It was at the first apartment set up there, and it got moved to this
I have
apartment.
pictures of the broken
It got
bed.
broken in the midst of moving, I would say.
Here. We're going to get to the
Your
bottom.
Honor,
of
may I
this.
say something?
Yes.
I would like to say,
Her father moved all the stuff from her old apartment to her new apartment, and all my furniture got moved from the first apartment to the second apartment.
Since you did not show up to remove any of your possessions Monday, August 25th, our agreed upon date, or return any of my phone calls, I will make myself available for one last pickup date. Remaining possessions include and shall be limited to sofa, television not in working order, television stand, queen bed with bed frame not in working order. What does that mean, queen bed?
It was broken. The
So
frame
you
was broken.
admit it was broken.
Yes.
Okay. Mom, what do you want to say? It's your last chance.
I would like to say that Beth has had an ongoing obsession with my son. She created this whole relationship in her head and was trying to act it out without him participating.
Okay, thank you, Mom. Thank you. You can be seated.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What do you want from her?
My stuff's broken. She had my belongings for 2 years in her apartment. I offered to pay for the rent and stuff. If we got it put in my name, I would have stayed there. It would have been taken care of. It would have been.
You're Mr. Nice Guy. You just want your stuff back.
Yeah, and it's
Okay,
and half
period.
of it's
What do
half
you
of it's
want?
broke.
Just reimbursement for like damage to the car, and I lost my security deposit because of stuff he did. Bail money when I bailed him out of jail. He helped.
What was he arrested for?
It was on drug charges.
What happened to those charges?
They were dropped on an ACD.
You got an ACD?
Well, yeah.
The DA gave you an ACD? Was it heroin?
No, it was pills. They weren't in a container.
How do you get an ACD for that?
Good lawyer.
Obviously. An ACD, by the way, for those of you who might not know, it means that they arrest you on a drug charge. And then they say, in New York, they say, you're a nice guy. We're going to give you 6 months. If you don't get in trouble for 6 months, we're going to make believe it never happened. You're clean. If they ask you if you've been arrested, you say, no, I've never been arrested, and you're not lying. Okay, that's an ACD. An adjournment and contemplation of dismissal. I'm very familiar with them.
Yes, ma'am.
You're a lucky guy.
Thank you.
Okay. Tell me about impound charges. What happened with this car?
In December, he was going through withdrawals and he wanted to go up and get a Suboxone pill, which helps with withdrawals and helps you get through it.
Right.
I did decide to go with him because I wanted to make sure both him and my car were okay. Because I know how he is with the withdrawals, and so I went with him. And he was driving badly. He did end up getting pulled over, and because of an incident on my driver's record in Florida, my license was suspended. So my car registration and insurance was under his name, and I was paying it.
Your car registration and insurance are in Jason's name, but who's entitled to the car in?
Me.
His was too.
The car is in your name, the insurance is in your name, and the registration's in your name.
Yes.
Because it can't be in your name even though you own the car.
Yes.
So he gets arrested, the car gets impounded. But it's his car.
They still had to impound it, and I ended up paying to get it out.
Did you ask her to get it out?
No.
But it's his car.
The car wasn't worth getting out of the impound
Well, after you banged it up. I mean, every time
agree.
you go out and drive, you hit something. The issue for this court is very simple. The issue is whether the defendant is liable to the plaintiff for property damage and unpaid loan and impound fees. Let me get rid of this one right away. He doesn't owe you any impound fees. It's his car. You gave it to him. Your fault. Next time, don't put everything in his name or get a side agreement that says, I, Beth, own the car, even though it's in your name. And if anything happens, okay? Now, the bed. The bed is damaged.
Yes.
As far as I'm concerned, and the defendant is countersuing the plaintiff for conversion, saying she took my property. I think that property clearly is the defendant's. I am going to require that you, Beth, return the television, the table, and the couch.
Also, the stereo. Jason.
And
You know what? Stop talking.
The stereo, and the stereo.
But he didn't sue for the stereo, Mom. What?
The stereo and speakers. There's a receipt there. It totals to $2,000 as well, and she admitted to selling it for $200.
Well, then I'm going to give you $200. So you're going to
She
get.
sold it for $200. It's
You
worth
didn't sue for it. Now, the plaintiff is entitled to property damage in the amount of. Wait a minute. Car's in his name.
I damaged my own car.
Not entitled to any money. Too bad. I am going to award the defendant probably more than he's entitled to, but I think at the end of the day he's a good guy and he's going to make it right with the plaintiff. I'm going to give you $2,800 for the bed. I'm going to give you $200 for the stereo that's damaged. And as far as I'm concerned, you've got to give him his items. So ordered.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.